Legend. Wait for it, Daryl.
Hey guys, it's me, Legend. Wait for it, Daryl. And today, on the top 10 interesting things you might not know, we're continuing on with the interesting facts from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Not the good facts, not just the bad facts, just the interesting facts that you may not know. And today's topic is none other than the big blue blur sidekick, Tails the Fox. One of the smartest individuals in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. Sonic's #2 go-to, his best friend, his buddy, who was done fantastically well in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, whose popularity has just been up there since day one. We're going to go over the top 10 interesting things you may not know about him. And guys, these were hard to find, okay? Like, I don't know why we all love Tails, but when it came to Shadow, that was really easy to do. But similar to other characters that I've been researching lately and coming up with these videos, finding interesting things that the rest of the world may not know about Tails was a lot harder or just simply more complicated than I thought it would be. But Tails deserves the love and the effort and the admiration. So without any further ado, let's begin the video with the top 10 interesting things you may not know about Tails, Miles Prowler. 10! Let's get one of the more interesting facts out of the way, and that is, of course, Tails' name. And that is, of course, Tails Miles Prowler, which, if you say it really slowly, is Tails miles per hour. That's right, Tails' name is actually a pun on miles per hour. I didn't figure this out until I was well within my middle school. I had been watching Sonic the Hedgehog, the TV show, before I was even playing the video games first, and was stunned to find out that that was actually a pun on his name. It's really clever, and I wonder if the movies will ever address it. The video games really haven't, but it's still a fun and interesting thing to know about Tails. 9! So, speaking of Tails the Fox, do you know something really interesting about Tails the Fox? Is that he's not just based off of a fox. No. See, the two tails thing isn't an accident. It's not a character detail that just he uses to spin around. No. Tails is actually based off of a Japanese folklore creature known as Kitsune. If you ever watched like Naruto or Inuyasha, which are fox demons with multiple tails, that is actually what the original concept of Tails was supposed to come from. Kitsune. It's really popular in Japanese folklore and legend. Tails isn't just based off of a regular animal, he's based off of a spirit animal, which is also immortal and a legend in its own way, and I kind of wanted to point that out. It's not really a mistake, but a bit of a misnomer when you're just referring to Tails as just Tails the Fox. He's actually considered Tails the Kitsune, and I wanted just to point that out in this interesting fact, because that's how legendary Tails is to me. 8! So while he is Sonic's best friend, Sonic has a very popular weakness in the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, comics, and television shows, and that is his inability to swim. Something that Tails has been able to assist him with by bringing him and flying him out of the water. Tails is just a bro like that, but do you know that Tails has a weakness and fear of his own? That's right, Tails suffers from astrophobia. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but essentially it is a fear of lightning or thunder. Tails, if he hears this, it has been featured in the video game, not the video games, I'm sorry. It has been featured in the comics and more prominently in the original Sonic the Hedgehog OVA, in which Tails is deathly afraid of lightning and will even stun up or freeze when he hears or sees it. This is really his own weakness besides his occasional self-doubt, but I don't really count his self-doubt or his confidence issues because he does overcome them when his friends are in time of need, because he's just a really good friend like that. However, he does still maintain the fear of lightning and thunder, but we love Tails because he is just such a courageous character and probably will one day overcome that fear sooner than Sonic will learn the ability to swim. But yeah, Tails is afraid of thunder and lightning, y'all.
7.
And Tails is just more than a sidekick character to Sonic. Did you know that he has more spin-off games than any other character in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise? That's right, Knuckles only has Knuckles Chaotix. Dr. Robotnik / Eggman only has Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Shadow, unfortunately, only has the one Shadow the Hedgehog video game. No, Tails maxes out at 3. He has Tails Adventures, Tails Sky Patrol, and the Tails musical game that was released. It's technically an educational video game, but it still counts. Tails has 3 games where every other character only has 1. And that is such a huge flex, but he's also Sonic the Hedgehog's best friend, so it makes sense that he would have more spin-off video game titles than anyone else. And with Sonic facing a bit of a resurgence since the movie has come out, it only stands to wait to see if he's given even more spin-off titles.
6.
So, how important is Tails when it comes to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise? Well, did you know that since his debut, with the exceptions of Sonic and Dr. Eggman, Tails is the only character in the entire franchise to be featured in every single Sonic the Hedgehog show and film in OVA. That's right, Knuckles was only featured in Sonic Underground and Up. Shadow, unfortunately, was only featured in Sonic X, and of course Sonic Boom, which is great and fantastic if you love great writing. No, Tails has been featured in every single Sonic the Hedgehog show and film. He was even featured in the end credits of the first Sonic the Hedgehog film and was more prominently featured in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And unless he isn't featured in the Knuckles spin-off, Tails is the only person in the entire Sonic the Hedgehog franchise to be featured in every single Sonic media, every single form of Sonic watchable media that is a show or a film. And that is why Tails is always Sonic's number 2.
5.
So you know that classic debate that subs are always cooler than dubs when it comes to Japanese anime? Well, ho ho ho! If you're into cool and edgy adult content, then would you like to know that in the Sonic X Japanese dub, our boy Tails, our adorable sweet 8-year-old Tails, actually swears? That's right. Well, I'm not going to put it on my channel simply because I like to be a little bit more wholesome. Tails has been heard and seen swearing in the Sonic X Japanese dub multiple times, which is weird because Shadow doesn't even swear in that show for some reason, and he's the first character in the video games to swear ever. Give it a look. It should be really easy to search on YouTube if you ever have the time. But yeah! Japanese Tails has a potty mouth in Sonic X.
4.
So one thing that is a bit of a legend when it comes to Tails is, of course, his in-game immortality. What do I mean by in-game immortality? Well, if you've ever played Sonic's 1 through 3, Knuckles, Adventures 1 or 2, and Tails is an assist character, even if he takes damage, even if he drowns, even if he falls off the map, Tails will respawn almost right away automatically. And this has always been extremely useful because Tails will gather rings for you, he can even damage bosses, he can even accidentally fall into traps that you would normally if you were playing as Sonic. Many fans have discovered this and have exploited it. If you plug in a second controller and control Tails, you can use this to defeat bosses a lot easier or to collect rings for bonuses. This hasn't been replicated in future Sonic games such as Sonic Forces, Sonic Colors, or I doubtful even Sonic Frontier when it does eventually release, but it's still an amazing and cool fact. This fact is so popular and so incredible that it's even been parodied on the internet. Just type down Tails is immortal and you're in for a treat. Tails' immortality is a fantastic part of the lore, and while it isn't an in-game story element of the character, it's so fantastic to know in here. And that is why I'm pointing it to you now, that Tails is immortal in the Sonic the video game universe, just not as a person himself. I'm sorry if that was a bit confusing, but I like to think y'all are smart and you know where I'm coming from.
3.
So I wouldn't be much of a Sonic the Hedgehog fan if I didn't bring up the Sonic Archie comics at least once. And the reason I want to bring it up here is because Tails actually has one of the more surprisingly dark origins when it comes to his comics. You see, when Dr. Eggman / Robotnik invaded Sonic and Tails' homeworld, the planet of Morbius, Tails was actually born on the day of that invasion. And because Tails' parents are actually freedom fighters, they were forced to abandon Tails, and as such, he was raised by woodchucks until he eventually had met Sonic. That's right, so Tails the Fox was raised by woodchucks, and unfortunately the day of his birth was the beginning of a war that would forever hone and begin the lore that is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog in the Archie comics. Give the Archie comics a read if you want. The collections are easily available online and at your local bookstores. I'm not being sponsored anyone. I think the comics are good and you should read them. Read the comics!
2.
So if you know this, Tails has actually been 6 to 8 years old for almost 20 years now in the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, comics, TV shows, and films. He's really young, but do you know that he's also extremely intelligent? He is responsible for almost all of Sonic's gadgets being made. He has built every different version of the plane that they fly together on, called the Tornado. Tails is so incredibly smart that it has been theorized that he's actually as smart as Dr. Eggman / Robotnik, who has an IQ of 300. However, the reason I was bringing up his age is because Tails is, unfortunately, because of his youth, he's very gullible. When Tails actually created counterfeit Chaos Emeralds, Dr. Eggman was able to take advantage of Tails' immaturity and trick him into revealing which one was the fake Chaos Emerald. However, Tails has also managed to defeat Eggman on multiple occasions. His greatest achievement, however, was possibly when he saved Station Square from Dr. Eggman, because he was going to blow it up with a nuclear missile. Tails is extremely smart, and like I said, it is widely believed that he does have an IQ of 300 equal to Dr. Eggman. Sonic's sidekick is as smart as the main villain of the franchise. That is the interesting fact I am trying to point out, and that is one of the coolest things about Tails to this day, is how intelligent he is. And I absolutely love that interesting fact about Tails.
1.
And last but not least, this is what I consider the most interesting and important fact when discussing Tails, because it is integral to everything we know about the lore of this character. It explains why him and Sonic are so close, and that is the fact that Tails' name, his main moniker, was actually given to him by Sonic the Hedgehog himself. When Tails and Sonic met, he was still called Miles Prowler. Tails hated the name. It was Sonic who pointed out that if Tails could spin his tail as a propeller, he could even float, and thus gave him the idea of calling himself Tails. Hey man, you should call yourself Tails, because you can use those tails to fly. While I am paraphrasing that just a little bit, that is, I actually remember that from the cartoon. I remember reading about that in the comics. It is such an interesting fact to this day, and it is important because that is how we have the character that is, of course, Tails the Fox. And it's so important to, of course, the relationship that we have seen and watched them build since day one if you have played the games or watched the shows. They didn't do that in the film, but that's fine. The films can only do so much. So yeah, that is the #1 interesting fact to me when it comes to Tails the Fox. And there you have it, guys. So the top 10 interesting facts to me about Sonic's sidekick, Tails Miles Prowler, the Fox. Did I happen to miss any interesting facts? Do you know any interesting facts? Please comment below and let me know. Also, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this, because guys, more content is always coming. I also like suggestions. If you have a suggestion about something I should cover in the future, please let me know. Also, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. Those are the social media platforms that I use besides YouTube. I hope you guys are having a great, fantastic day. More content is always coming, and thank you for watching. I am nothing without you guys. Please have a super mega day, and of course, as always, stay classy. I really need to work on the end credit singer. Honestly, I never really played as Tails when I was a kid, except for the Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 levels. I was more of a Sonic or Knuckles kind of guy myself, but it's still great that he's featured more than any other character. Yeah, that's all I got. That's my end credit stinger. Hope you guys have a good day. Later.